Yes, 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 come on! Chelsea 2, Palmeiras 1, let's get into it. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And what a game that was! Chelsea 2, Palmeiras 1. There is so much to talk about. Okay, deep breath. I'm just diving straight in, and first thing we'll do is talk about the lineup. So from my predicted lineup I did in my preview video, there were lots of mitigating factors that meant a lot of changes were going to come in. Romeo Lavia was not available and wasn't on the bench, so that's a worry. He's been playing pretty well recently. Hopefully it was a protection thing, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. And Reece James was injured in the warm-up. No. We have had it so good from Reece James for such a long time now. That was a gut punch. And in a little bit of a surprise, André Santos was trusted with the role of the lone number 6. And I'll get into it a bit more later, but the boy did good. Pedro Neto did actually feature from the start of the game, and I'd seen some news saying that Chelsea were willing to let him sort of skip this one based on obviously the tragedy that he's just been through. So absolute props to Neto. In fact, absolute props to Neto. What an absolute champion to be going through this with the loss of his friend and still come out and be a professional and play the game. I don't think anyone would have given Neto a hard time if he'd have chosen to skip this one, but fair play to him, man. Completing the lineup was Mark Cucurella, Levi Colwill, Trevor Chalobah in the centre-back spot instead of Tosin Adarabioyo, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, an attacking midfield 3 completed by Christopher Nkunku, who mostly seemed to feature out on the left, and Cole Palmer back in his centre spot. And the cherry on the cake was Liam Delap started the game. So it was a little bit nervy, and if I'm honest, it was a little bit nervy just from the opening lineup, because before Reece James got injured in the warm-up, it was initially going to be Malo Gusto and Reece James. And the last time we played a Brazilian team with Reece James in midfield and Malo Gusto at right back, things did not go well. But my fears were quickly allayed as André Santos did a great job in that 6 role. He was commanding, he was positionally aware, he wasn't too rash, he wasn't running all over the place. I mostly had it in my head, André Santos is like this marauding number 8 that scores goals and starts to connect things together, but he did a great job screening the back line and really impressed. This is the kind of performance that Maresca will have to pay attention to. It's a bit of a backhanded compliment, I guess, but for the most part I didn't see a lot of André Santos, and for a defensive midfielder that's kind of what you want, isn't it? You know that he's doing his job properly if you're not seeing him a lot. So yeah, André Santos, take a bow, great performance. So the flow of the game was really good in general. Palmeiras did not put 10 men behind the ball. They were looking for chances, and that opened up space, which allowed us to play some of our better football. And in particular, a certain Cole Palmer was looking pretty good from the start. Back in that more favoured central role with the ability to drift right and left and make those choices, not being quite so wedged into one position, really started to see him look like he was back to his best. And we were all rewarded with a sublime goal from Cole Palmer in the 16th minute. Oh, it was vintage Cole Palmer. And you know what? To say that anything is vintage Cole Palmer is a bit mad, isn't it? The guy's 23 years old and he's only just been with us for 2 years. But for anyone to score 30 plus goals in the Premier League, that instantly makes some of their earlier outings what you would consider to be vintage, right? And this was a great goal, man. Assist from Trevor Chalobah as well, which is... But he took the ball. He had a guy right on him as well. The guy was like kind of pulling at him a little bit and wrestling him and really giving him a hard time. Cole Palmer looked completely unaffected and calmly, purposefully, beautifully slotted it into the goal with his favoured left foot, and it was great. Apart from that, he was generally peppering shots, making really good passes, connecting things together. And one thing I saw from Cole Palmer throughout the entirety of this game is sometimes he'd just take the ball in midfield, and when things were looking a bit stocky and stodgy and there was a lot of players in front of the attacking part, he would just run the ball back into the defence and pass it back to one of the defenders and get his way back up there. So he was all over the place, man. This was an excellent performance from Cole Palmer. I'm so happy to see it again. He needs to be in that role, but it wasn't even just about how well he played. He looks like he was enjoying himself. He looks like he was up for the event and the occasion. And maybe part of that was inspired by a very young Estal William featuring on the opposition team. You've got to think Estevão probably has one eye on Cole Palmer's position as well as Pedro Neto's. So I do kind of think Cole Palmer used this as an opportunity to show Estevão, you're going to have to work for this, mate. But yeah, Cole Palmer, man, take a bow. What an unbelievable performance. I desperately want to believe that he's back, because it's one performance that generally is the turning point in these kind of things, right? He's been building up to it recently, slowly. Obviously, he had that massive dry spell from December to late February February, kind of March time. He's been dipping in and out of form, in and around there, despite getting lots of minutes. But today, he just absolutely ran the show against a team that was not easy to play in difficult conditions. And yeah, really, really, really pleased about Cole Palmer. He's back. He's back. I'm just going to stop the video for a second. If you are enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, or subscribing to my channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. I've gained 100 subs in the last 3 or 4 days, and things really starting to feel like they're rolling on and snowballing. Thank you guys so much, you absolute bunch of legends. I feel like I can really make this thing happen, and it is all because of you. Alright, that'll do. I'll get back to the video. So as far as the first half goes, there were 2 largely disappointing players in Liam Delap and Christopher Nkunku. Christopher Nkunku, I'm not too bothered about because I've still got it in the back of my head that he's gone. But there was just this one moment, man. He was out on the left, the ball came to him, he had acres of space. He had so much space. He had a lot of time to make his decision, and he just decided to try and take a shot from where he was, and he curled it right over the top of the goal, and oh, it was just silly, man. It was just silly. It felt like he was trying too hard to do something spectacular rather than just to actually score a goal. So counter to any feelings that we might have had from Christopher Nkunku scoring in the Benfica game and being like, oh, is this a good idea for us to sell him? Looking at him in today's game, in and amongst a team that was performing really, really well, he didn't look up to scratch. And now Liam Delap, oh, mate, he was awful yesterday, man. I mean, so credit to Palmeiras' defence, right? Because they just were all over him and he was not getting any opportunities and really struggling to get into the game. Now, if that was the case in and by itself, all right, fair enough. It happens. Sometimes, you know, it's difficult to get in a game and whatever. If he just hadn't have played well, I probably wouldn't feel quite so negative about his performance. But the thing that was really bad is his petulance, man. He started looking really, really frustrated, and he started pushing players and making rash challenges and arguing with the referee. And it was like, Liam, what you doing, man? What you doing? After having Jackson sent off multiple times now in recent memory, the last thing we need is another hot-headed striker who can't keep his cool when the going gets tough. So yeah, it was disappointing, man. Liam, like I say, if Liam Delap just didn't have a great performance, I'd have been like, okay, fair enough, it happens. He's still very early in his career. But to be showing that kind of mentality from this moment on, that is definitely something Enzo Maresca has to sort out. Can't be losing his cool like that. Absolutely not. And yes, it shows passion, it shows fire, and I do appreciate those things, but let them come out through your football. Don't start pushing people and arguing with the ref when you're not going to win. So yeah, Liam Delap, bit of a shame. So we go into the second half, 1-0 up, and things are looking good. We've, you know, not dominated. Like, for instance, we didn't dominate nearly as much as we did in the Benfica game, but generally we were looking to be in the ascendancy, and we had a good performance. Now, the worry was we went into the second half against Flamengo 1-0 up, and from the start of the second half, I was terrified that something like that was going to happen again. Palmeiras unlocked something in that half-time, man, and they came out swinging. All of a sudden, we looked leggy, we looked tired, and they were just making everything happen. We were having less possession. They were just cutting through us and pressing. Constant, massive press, loads of turnovers, loads of dangerous moments, and everything good that went through Palmeiras went through Estal William. This kid looks like the real deal, man. And regardless of Cole Palmer's brilliance today, Estevão William has put in a performance that should have some of the Chelsea seniors worried about having to fight for their spots. He looked unbelievable. This kid is 18 years old. He is a good dribbler. He is a good passer. He makes himself available for his teammates all of the time. And at one point, he had a free kick from like the left side, and the man can take a free kick too. He's got technique, skill, ability, ambition, guile, and he's going to be a real asset to our team. You can feel it in your bones. And after all that, Estevão William was rewarded with an amazing goal. From his weak foot at the right side, a really, really difficult angle. Oh, mate. It literally had to be. The narrative gods dictated that if we were going to concede in this game, it had to be for Estevão William. You can tell Palmeiras are really going to miss him because this kid, he looks really, really good. So shortly after that goal, Liam Delap and Nkunku get hooked and replaced with Noni Madueke on the left, and new 23-year-old Brazilian signing Xiao Pedro gets his first minutes in the striker spot. And it was really, really promising. Within the first minute, he was pressing a lot. He'd made good passing moves. He's obviously a very, very good dribbler. He didn't end up getting anything numbers-wise out of the game, but to say the Palmeiras defence gave Liam Delap such a torrid time, João Pedro instantly offered us something really, really different. I actually noticed quite a lot when Palmeiras had the ball. Cole Palmer often looked more advanced than João Pedro did. It was almost like in defence they were playing like in a front two with Pedro sat just behind Palmer ready to make a darting run. And yeah, look, we can't get too excited because it was what, like 35 minutes or whatever. It was his first game. He's barely had a week to train and he's only just joined up with the squad. So I'm not going to get too excited. Obviously, time is the teller, isn't it? Time will tell the story. Let's not forget that Mykhailo Mudryk also had a phenomenal debut against Liverpool. But either way, you can see what a difference he offers to the team compared to Liam Delap and even compared to Nicholas Jackson. He's another young, hungry player who will have one eye on that striker spot. And like I say, although he didn't manage to get anything out of it, he put in a good performance and I'm excited to see what he can do with more time, more understanding of his teammates and more instruction from the manager. So let's talk about Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto started at right back, but played everywhere. So the defence seemed to mostly be made up of Trevor Chalobah, Levi Colwill and Marc Cucurella playing a bit more of a reserved role in this game. And Malo Gusto was literally just told, you just go wherever you want. You know all that freedom that Cole Palmer used to get under Pochettino that I was talking about in my Cole Palmer video the other day? Malo Gusto seems to be getting that under Maresca. And he's full of energy and he does get on the ball a lot. I still find myself a little bit frustrated because he lacks that instinctual killer pass and that ability to really make that final moment happen, or at least he did up until we got our second goal. So I was doing a live stream when this happened, right? Now, Malo Gusto was basically in like a left-sided attacking midfield spot, which is crazy because he was supposed to be over on the right at least. The ball came out to him and he took a shot. It was a bit weird. I wasn't exactly sure what happened, but it looked like he took a shot and it bounced over the keeper and went in. And I'll admit, I lost it. I was like, oh, Malo Gusto scored. Malo Gusto scored. He finally did something. Yeah. And while you have to give Malo Gusto credit for making the goal happen, the goal itself was actually attributed to an own goal from Palmeiras keeper Weverton. So gutter, man, gutter, right? It looked like he'd done it. He'd broken his duck finally. He's like, oh, I've scored a goal. But at the end of the day, he takes the plaudits for making the goal happen, even if he doesn't get that number on his sheet. And what I will say about that is Maresca's just going to play him in every game now, isn't he? Because obviously Maresca already loves Malo Gusto. Reece James, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the injury. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about it yet. But Maresca's going to be thinking, I was right. Malo Gusto can do it. I'm now going to play him in every single game for the rest of his life because he's forced an own goal against Palmeiras. And he probably feels vindicated in giving him so much responsibility. But to be fair to him, it came off today. So fair play, Malo Gusto. So to wrap up the game, we saw brief cameos from Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and Dario Asugo, but that was literally like from the 87th minute until the 90-something minute, and there was only 3 minutes of extra time, so they were negligible cameos, and they didn't have enough time to, really have any input in the game, so they just helped us see out those final minutes. So Chelsea run out 2-1 winners, very deservedly against a great Palmeiras. So we look to the semi-final. It's really starting to look like we actually might be able to win this. I guess you would argue we've had a favourable run-up in terms of games. So far, the most well-known team that we've had to play is Benfica. We've managed to avoid the Real Madrids and Bayern Munichs and PSGs of the tournament, and even the Man Cities. So we go into the semi-final against another Brazilian side in Fluminense. And who is at Fluminense other than ex-Chelsea stalwart, absolute cult hero, Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva is still doing the job at 40 years old. What an absolute monster of a hero he is. Such a great player, man. And as this tournament has taught us and everyone else so far, the Brazilian sides are no joke. And it is not surprising to see one get into the semi-final. So we will be missing Liam Delap for this game because he's now accumulated too many yellow cards. And with Jackson still being in Maresca's bad books, maybe that paves the way to Xiao Pedro getting his first start against the Brazilian side. It feels winnable, but a tough game, which is like all of the games we've played against the Brazilian side so far. I'm really really starting to enjoy this tournament, man. I know it gets a lot of stick, and it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because what it is doing is kind of robbing the players of a year off in between international tournaments. But it's been amazing to see us play all of these new teams that I've never heard of, or to go up against these Brazilian sides. It's been a different kind of football, and you've got to think this is really good experience for our teams as well. Football is changing daily at the moment, and the Club World Cup, I think, is only going to get bigger year on year. So for us to get in there at the ground level and get so far into the tournament, you know, especially with so much other massive opposition competing in it as well, it's been a really good experience. So to wrap the video up, there was a really, really nice heartwarming moment right at the end of the game. Obviously, we'd won. The Chelsea players were jubilant and very excited. The Palmeiras guys were looking a bit downtrodden, and no one more than Estal William. You can tell he really thought that he'd be able to carry his team through this game and further into this tournament to leave a massive legacy with the club, which he has already done, I'm sure. But what was really nice was to see Estevão being surrounded by Chelsea players at the end. Cole Palmer was talking to him, and all of these Chelsea players got involved and gave him a little hug and embraced him, and essentially just gave him a big warm Chelsea welcome to his new team, and that was really nice to see, man. There's been so many little interesting narratives in this game, and Estal William was a massive one. Now we have to temper our expectations, right? Because he's not just going to come in and hit the ground running. Okay, maybe he does, but it's unlikely. He's an 18-year-old kid moving away from his home to a big new city and a big new team in a language that probably isn't his first, and it might take him some time to settle in. But he will get opportunities, and we can all tentatively be very excited to see Estal William turning out in blue very soon. Right, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around for the video. I'm currently working on another comparison piece, so I'm hoping to have that out in the next few days. As ever, I will keep my ear to the ground for any more news and try to get in as quick as possible to get it out to you. Nice one, guys. I hope you all have a wicked day. Take it easy. Peace.